I gasped as I was tossed on the bed unceremoniously. My wrists hurt from the long pressure the alpha put on them as he grabbed me and dragged me all the way here. He just snapped in the forest and forced me to follow him to where his pack camped, which was near the lake. Curious, I stared at their alpha, some of them wary of me. They probably remembered me from last time, but none of them dared to interfere. Their alpha, that is Wolf, took over partially. Now we were in a big room at a huge wood cabin. The beta stopped following us in the hallway. He too was incapable of reaching his alpha. I know he tried telepathically, but failed, and when the beta caught me when I tripped, because of the way the alpha was dragging me, the alpha lost it, screaming at his beta that he told him before not to ever touch me again. I was truly scared. Seeing him like that made me shrink, my eyes searching for a possible escape route. He looked like he could do anything at this moment. Let me go. My voice stuttered, all my confidence gone. My bag was left in the forest, so I didn't have any weapons I could use. He just laughed dryly. You're not going anywhere. He stepped forward, making me move back on the bed until I had nowhere to move. You're very undisciplined for a maid. I think I should punish you, he purred with evident lust in his eyes. He took off his shirt slowly, smirking as he saw me staring at his bare chest. Unwanted excitement filled me along with the fear, my body tense with anticipation. This was not me. I refused to believe it was. This was just the mating bond. I would never find a werewolf sexy. The mating bond was messing with my head and body. Stay back, I yelled as he climbed the bed that sank under his weight. He was on 4, soon his face facing mine, our noses almost touching, each of his hand on my right and left, cornering me. My body didn't react as he leaned forward, no matter how much I screamed at myself to move. I gasped as our lips touched, electric shocks running through my body, and right after warm waves took over, making me dizzy. His lips moved against mine gently. I started moving mine as well, eager to have more of this new addicting feeling. It all felt right despite my beliefs it was meant to be, the way our lips fit perfectly with each other. His tongue pressed against my lips, urging me to open them. I did so, and parted my lips, moaning as our tongues made first contact, swirling around each other. I dared to explore his mouth. He tasted heavenly. He sucked my tongue, but then he stopped abruptly, breaking the kiss. I cursed at the whimper that escaped my lips. Don't worry, he chuckled and caressed my cheek. He tore my shirt on the spot, aggressively tying my wrists with what left of it. What are you doing? I stared at him, baffled. He ruffled my hair. Your punishment, he winked. I struggled in panic. I knew where this was leading, and I didn't like the idea. No, I don't want to. I tried to rip my ties with my teeth, but it was pointless. My legs were free, thankfully, so I sent a kick to his abdomen, but he didn't even blink. I assure you that you'll be begging me to punish you, he whispered huskily, and licked his lips. He grabbed with one hand my hands to keep me from moving. His weight over me prevented me from moving my legs as well. Let's begin. He captured my lips again, this time the kiss rough and more demanding, almost desperate. His body pressed against mine, letting me feel the enormous bulge that rubbed against my leg. I could feel his huge erection through his pants, making my own member stand with want. He tried to slip his tongue into my mouth, but I denied any access, so he bit my lower lip, taking the opportunity as I gasped in surprise and pain. The metallic taste of blood was felt in my mouth. The bastard made me bleed out. I couldn't breathe properly. To my relief, he broke the kiss. I took a deep breath that was caught in my throat the minute his warm lips nibbled and sucked on my neck, lightly bruising it. The air was filled with my moans as he found a sensitive spot and sucked there, biting lightly. It was wrong of me to act like that. It was shameful and unforgivable to expose myself like that, but I simply didn't care. He could have bitten me and mark me as his, and I wouldn't care. The pleasure was too intense for me. I wanted him badly, and the rest didn't matter. He showered butterfly kisses on my collarbone, stopping every now and then to leave a rude hickey. His lips closed around my right nipple, while his hand pinched the left. My hands grabbed his head, welcoming the pleasure. He switched between the nipples, sucking and teasing both of them, a deep moan erupting from him as I tugged on his hair. My head was spinning at the mouth-watering scent of his arousal, making me stiffer down there. In return, he was growling as my smell reached him. My breathing came out shallow and hurried, my heart racing in my chest and my body hot and begging for more. It was unbearable, yet blissful at the same time. My pants came off quickly, my bulge obvious in my underwear, the front already wet. He stood and took off his own pants. My eyes zeroed on his lower section. He smirked and climbed back on the bed, kissing me hungrily while rubbing against me, our members thrusting against each other in our underwears. I kissed him back with need, saliva dripping from our mouths, both of us moaning. He lowered both of our layers, exposing us to each other. I didn't feel ashamed, it felt natural. His hands grabbed us both and stroked our fluids, making our members slick. And no, I protested as he stopped. My eyes widened as he lowered himself until my erection stood before his face, dripping pre-cum. He sent his tongue and licked my tip, shivers running through me as my stomach clenched with pleasure. His tongue kept licking my member up and down. I was dizzy from the sensations. I grunted as he took one of my balls in his mouth, sucking and then moving to the other. My mind was a total blur. The ability to think straight was not available for me at the moment. I gasped as I felt his tongue at my entrance. One of his hands was stroking my member while he was tonguing me. I've never in my life felt such a blinding pleasure. It was beyond my understanding. How can I stand against it? He stopped and slipped one finger in. It wasn't very pleasant. He started moving it in and out. His mouth took the head of my member. My eyes rolled as I felt his hot and wet mouth taking me slowly all the way. Soon I was fully buried in his mouth. He didn't move. It was a torture. I grunted in frustration and started to thrust myself in and out of his mouth. He smiled around me and hummed. God. Yeah. I was close to climax. I grabbed his head, my member dripping uncontrollably in his mouth. My eyes closed as I felt the wave of release come. I didn't even notice he slipped another finger in. I cried as his hand clenched around me, stopping me from having release. I wanted to cry, but a wave of pleasure crashed upon me as his fingers hit a spot inside of me that made my mind blank. He grinned knowingly and kissed me roughly, slipping another finger. It hurt, but I didn't care. My moans were muffled by his mouth. I whimpered as his fingers left me. Something wrong, he chuckled, his hands pinching my nipples. I wanted him inside of me badly, and he knew it. He wanted me to beg. I bit my lip, tears rolling down my cheeks as I gulped to it. I mumbled defeated. He raised an eyebrow. I said, do it. I snapped, humiliation surging through me. Do what? He teased. He wanted it as much as I wanted it. His golden eyes showed it, but he wanted me to admit it. Put it in. I averted my eyes. He grabbed my chin, forcing me to look in his eyes. Gladly, and then his burning member pushed in. I moaned in pain. He was huge. I felt like I was about to be torn. Relaxed, he whispered. I tried to do as he said, but the pain was still too much. Oh, I sobbed slowly. Another sensation was built inside of me, a pleasant one. He pulled and thrust one more, and then again until all of him was inside of me. His member kept rubbing that spot. That made me see stars. Faster. I cried, and he smiled and kissed me, his pace growing. You're so tight, he moaned and kissed my neck. Our moans mixed, both of us sweated with fast heartbeats. His hands stroked my member up and down again and again. Yee. I screamed as I reached my climax. My back arched as white ropes came out of my member. I clenched around him. Oliver, I screamed his name. He growled mine and bit my neck while climaxing inside of me. And then I passed out.